Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Magically Cruising, the cruise podcast where we share our personal cruise tips and reviews to help you make the most out of your next sailing. My name's Kieran, I'm an independent travel agent specialising in all things cruise, Disney and North America, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host.
Hi, I'm Sarah and I write cruise reviews and family travel reviews over at Mini Travellers and cruise tips over at Cruising with Kids.
And today, Sarah, I am back from another trip. It feels like quite literally we've only just got off the Disney Fantasy and I'm already on another trip, which, like buses, cruises sometimes come back to back. But I'm just back from yet another incredible trip. I've been to Shanghai and sailed the beautiful Spectrum of the Seas as well from Shanghai to Japan for the day as well. So I think today we're going to talk about my experience doing that, really, aren't we?
We are. And it's been a bit of a game-changing trip for me because I wanted to go but didn't want to go. And everybody in my house wants to go. And I kept putting them off because for a traveller, it scared me. And then I've watched your trip and it's sort of changed. Well, it's completely changed my mind. So we've been, before coming on air, planning my trip.
Literally, and equally I was exactly the same. I'm a travel agent, I sell travel for a living, and I was intimidated to sell China as well because there are so many unknowns about it and so many things that are kind of so foreign. And I know that's part of the excitement of traveling, but I think when you're doing something like a cruise, you got that safety net, haven't you, of kind of having the cruise and knowing at least you know the cruise line type of thing. But I was always equally scared about this. So when this opportunity came about, so just for a bit of background again, this was a hosted trip. I know this is the second hosted trip in a row, so my perspective is a little bit skewed by it was hosted by the president of Royal Caribbean China, which was just a delight in itself for the week. But an opportunity came up. Basically, we had to apply for places and do training with Travel Weekly UK, a trade magazine, and Royal Caribbean China. And we had to post a fun picture of us doing something fun and adventurous with chopsticks, basically. So I weaponized my dog and had Milo eating noodles from the chopsticks. And I was picked as one of 10 lucky agents to go to Shanghai. So we did... What did we do? We did 2 nights technically pre-cruise in Shanghai and then a 4-night sailing on Spectrum of the Seas going to Okinawa. And it's totally changed my perspective on China. I dismissed China a little bit. It was one of those the unknowns. I've just seen a few bits and pieces on TikTok, but I think I've become a passionate advocate about how incredible, at least Shanghai is anyway. I have fallen in love with the city. I think it's incredible.
And I think that this is a really important point. And obviously I always bought from you anyway, but I don't get commission, so everybody knows. It's not like I claim, but it's a friendship. But it's really important to book through somebody that's got experience of stuff like this because
100%.
Otherwise you could book somebody on a cruise and all right, booking America and booking Europe's pretty easy, but booking something like this has got so much you've got to think about. You need someone that knows what they're doing and to give you the advice on what to do and how to deal with it.
This is why I'm so grateful for the opportunity and why it's so great and important that brands like Royal Caribbean, bring agents on or bring influencers on to kind of just help handhold in it, because the more information that's out there, the more confident people are going to feel. And we were talking about it before this episode. I think what I've realized about China, the reason why it's so difficult to learn about it is because their whole system is very different. All their apps are different, their payments are different. So all their social media is also different. So, we'll talk about this more in a dedicated Shanghai episode, I think. But a prime example was we were trying to find a certain shopping mall basically, and I seen her on TikTok, and when I was Googling it, nothing was coming up at all. I couldn't find her on Google Maps. I couldn't find any information on it. And it's not that it didn't exist. Google Maps made it look like it didn't. It's just it's not on Western social media. It's on Chinese social media. And that's where that kind of comfort blanket of trusting your gut, I think, a little bit and doing at the right level of research and knowing where to look for these things is probably the reason why so much of China is done as guided tours. I think because having somebody local to kind of hold your hand and point these things out to you is definitely helpful. And I think that's why I loved sailing with Royal Caribbean especially. And what I really appreciated about kind of the being immersed in Chinese culture, but on a familiar brand like Royal Caribbean, I think put me at ease a little bit, that I felt it was a familiar home with a bit of exciting Chinese additions to it.
So your cruise was a 4-night?
Yeah, 4-night sailing. So we left on the Monday, got back on the Friday, 2 days at sea, and then 1 full day in Okinawa in southern island of Japan.
Wow. I'm just, honestly, the whole time I was following it, I was like, I'm meant to be going to California with NCL, and now it looks like I'm going to China with Royal Caribbean. It was just, it looked amazing, I have to say. Right, so tell me about the ship then. So first of all, right, so going out of China. So you went out of Shanghai. So you flew into Shanghai.
Yeah.
So how easy was that in terms of distances from the airport to the hotel, getting to the ship? Take me through that.
Yeah, so we did have a company called Wendy Wu who looked after us for the first day, at least anyway. So we did land into Shanghai airport at around about 7 in the morning. So it was a bit of a brutal over-the-night flight. We were picked up, and our hotel to downtown Shanghai, we were staying in the Jiang district, which is kind of like the modern trendy area. There's a lot of like high-end designer. If you've ever seen like the Louis Vuitton boat in Shanghai, it's literally 2 blocks away from that, basically, about a 5-minute walk. So we were right in the downtown in a lovely hotel called the St. Regis. We've been told we've got exclusive rates for Royal Caribbean customers to stay there as well. So I'm hoping to put together some packages staying there as well. But beautiful like city views from there type of thing. That was about a 50 minute drive, I think, from the airport to downtown. And then Royal Caribbean, because the ship is so big, Spectrum of the Seas, she berths in a slightly further out port. There are 2 cruise terminals that would service Shanghai. There is one downtown on the main river that goes through Shanghai that a lot of the smaller ships berth from, but Royal Caribbean is so big that she berths in Baoshan, which is about, again, another 45 minutes away from downtown Shanghai, depends on which side of the river you stay on, basically. You could be like 45 minutes away. Really easy to get to. One thing I will say is transportation in China is so cheap. I think the one transfer that I did book myself was a taxi to a shopping mall, and I think we paid like £4 for a 30-minute taxi journey in the morning. Incredibly cheap to get around and really easy once you download the right apps, which we'll go into in our Shanghai episode, I guess. Yeah. Really easy to order. It's just like using Uber, but it's just a Chinese app basically dedicated to it.
Right. Okay. So is that because the prices are set?
It's just
like
cheap,
people
just
can't,
in general.
right.
I don't really know like the economy. I don't understand like how they live off that type of money, to be honest. But just in general, I think it is reasonably cheap to shop in Shanghai, to be honest. Everything just seemed cheaper. Coffee was like £3 for a coffee from a coffee shop. I was obsessed with buying things from like Pop Mart and Miniso, the little like collectible figures you can buy. Over here in the UK, they're like £15 to £18 each. I was buying them for £6 in China. I think it's just the economy works on a totally different system, and the expectation of price is very different.
Oh my God, I mean, Hello Kitty. I'd just be like a demon buying Hello Kitty.
Literally.
Like when I go to Disney, I'm like a mad woman at the Hello Kitty shop.
I bought so much, and I knew this would happen, but I got obsessed with anything Disney related, anything cute culture. Again, and obviously you've got Shanghai Disney as well, which again is another whole conversation point. So there's a lot of obsession with Disney in Shanghai as well. So a lot of like these memorabilia stores, collectible stores sell so much Disney merchandise as well. So if you are a fan of Disney, there's a whole Disney flagship store as well, which I was trying to get to, but we ended up going to the Underground Mall instead. But the shopping over there is unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's incredible.
So before we get on the ship, how far is Disney from?
It's near the airport. We drove past it in the distance. I could see the turrets in the distance, but it's about, say, 45 minutes away from the town centre of Shanghai, or the downtown district. And again, I think I looked at an Uber and it was like £14 to get there from my hotel when I looked. I was very tempted, 6 a.m, to go there just so I could say I'd been to like Walter Disney at Shanghai Disney. But we decided to go to the Chinese mall instead and buy some genuine fakes, which I shouldn't be saying on the podcast, but that's what we did.
I'd have gone to Disney. Right, so the ship. So I just don't know where to start. I feel like quite excited about all the stuff I need to find out. So tell me about the ship then and boarding. Was it any different to normal Royal Caribbean boarding?
So we had access to the key. Just because we were part of this VIP group, so they gave us the key. So we did go into kind of the suite checking area, and it was incredible. They were so attentive. You had like snacks and drinks and things like that in there. They took our passports off us. That's one thing you do need to be aware of. And it's not anything untoward. It's not the Chinese government checking anything. Royal Caribbean take over your passports. They do it though to sort out your immigration to get off the ship at the end, but also for the ports as well, because obviously you've got different immigration criteria to get into Japan, which I can get into maybe either on this episode or the next episode we talk about Japan. But they do hold on to your passports, but that's because they fill out a lot of the immigration forms for you on your behalf and give you a photocopy of your passport to enter Japan. And it's just because there's 4,000 plus guests on board, it just makes it so much more seamless and quicker for everybody to get on and off that ship. So some people were a little bit like apprehensive, but it's not China that takes your passports, is the ship that takes your passports.
And they do that for everybody?
every single guest, regardless of nation. So whether you're British, we were obviously all British, but all the Chinese had all their passports taken off them as well.
That saves a lot of grief, doesn't it? Then, I mean, I remember going into New York on the Queen Mary. It was just a nightmare getting off, 2 hours.
And that's the thing, getting into Japan. And bear in mind, you do have to clear the Chinese, you have to leave China to get on the ship. And it is a different system whereby in America, you're classed like a closed loop cruise, you're on a cruise terminal visa. As far as the visas are concerned, boarding that ship is you leaving China. So you are leaving the border and you are entering the border in Japan for the day. And because of how the visa works, you want to technically get off anyway. Otherwise, you can't use the kind of visa-free system. You have to transfer to another country, and entering Japan for your visa purposes counts as you leaving China and entering another country. You do the same coming back then. You board the ship to head back to China. It's a really technicality about just how the Chinese government have written these visas, but that's why they do it, basically, to ensure that everybody gets the transfer visa system on and off and to get in and out of Japan.
So if anybody's listening to this now and their head's going to explode, which mine is a bit, you can advise them, can't you?
Yeah, it is tricky, and it took me the whole week to get my head around how it works ultimately. But we'll leave it. Let's leave it until the Shanghai episode. We'll do a bit more of a chat about how the transfer visa works, because it is a full-on conversation, and I kind of want to talk about the ship more this time around. It is easier than it sounds, type of thing. It's just there's a nuance to it. The gist of it, basically, you have to transfer through China. So you can't use the visa-free system to fly from the UK to China and then back to the UK. You have to go via another country, which gives you 10 days basically in China. The ship leaving China to Japan counts as a transfer. So that counts as your third country. So I'll go into more detail when we do our dedicated kind of Shanghai maybe port guide. But there is a nuance to it. Other than that, you've got to apply for a tourism visa, which is easy to get, but it just costs money.
Right. Okay. So the ship.
Yeah, the ship's incredible. So you've been on her sister ship. Literally, there are 2 Quantum Ultra class ships in the fleet. So obviously you've been on Odyssey. Spectrum of the Seas as well as a Quantum Ultra. She's been purposely built, however, for the Chinese market. So I've not been on Odyssey, so I'm going to use a lot of these broad strokes of assumptions that this is what's different about it. But I've been on Anthem of the Seas, which is a Quantum class, and I now understand a little bit about what's different about a Quantum Ultra, and it is just a few changes to how the dining room works, and she's obviously a little bit bigger to give her a little bit more pool space to have like the splash pad and things like that on board. But yeah, she's beautiful. She really is a stunning ship. I think I forget all the time of just how incredible Royal Caribbean ships are when you're on board and how much there is to see and do when you're just walking around.
And this is the thing, right? Another thing that put me off, because obviously you know that I've now like the new converted Oasis class lover. But we are going on Odyssey again next year. But I saw a vlog of the ship, and it just put me off. The people that were presenting it, I don't know, they just made it look like, this is different and it's bad. This is different and we don't like this. They weren't very positive, I would say.
Really?
It just didn't give it a good spin. So I was really intrigued to see what you thought of the ship.
Yeah.
And you loved it, didn't you?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I think it came up a lot on the group type of thing. And, you know, the president, Ben Bowden of China, he was kind of like quite passionate about it. There's a lot of kind of media around kind of like, it's the Chinese Royal Caribbean ship and it's very Chinese. And it is. But it's still a Royal Caribbean ship at its heart. You're still going to find music hall on board. You're still going to find Chops Grill. You're going to find Wonderland, Bionic Bar, iFly, the North Star. All the things you know and love about a Quantum class ship are all there. It's just got bilingual Chinese and English writing. But there's a handful of unique things about this ship as well that kind of make it Chinese, which is obviously the fact that it is bilingual. You are going to have Chinese signage everywhere, but there are 2 specialty restaurants unique to this ship as well. So Szechuan Red is a traditional kind of Chinese Szechuan inspired meal. It's difficult to explain the differences between the different provinces, but if you like a Chinese meal anyway, Szechuan Red is exclusive to this ship. But also Hot Pot as well is another one as well. So at the back of the Windjammer, there's a small area dedicated to Hot Pot. So again, this is becoming a big popular trend here in the UK now. They're popping up everywhere, but you can go have Chinese Hot Pot as well on board, and that's another specialty restaurant. So this ship has more specialty options than, from my understanding, any other ship in the Royal Caribbean fleet, because it has the core Royal Caribbean experiences like Jamie's Italian, but also then has these 2 exclusive as well Chinese specialty as well.
So has it got the what's it called with the bumper cars? Has it got the
Sportsplex?
Sportsplex.
Seaplex. That's the one, Seaplex, yeah.
Does it have playmakers?
No, at least if it did, I didn't spot it. But because on Odyssey, then is Playmaker. I know is Playmakers up on the Sportsplex on Cplex, isn't it?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
definitely not. Then, yeah, it definitely doesn't have it on
Right.
the ship. Yeah, I thought I was going
But
insane. I
suppose
was like,
it won't,
I can't find
'cause
it.
it's a different it's a different concept, isn't it? I suppose it's very
Yeah.
American sport geared. I suppose I do love it.
Yeah,
It's my
yeah, I
favourite.
didn't spot it. I don't know if it was down by the casino. I did try to go look for it, but I'm pretty sure I definitely didn't spot a Playmakers on board. But there's plenty of bars, like vintages. There's still definitely a vintages. You've got the North Star bar. There's the pool bar. There's a bar in the solarium. So you're still going to find bars everywhere. But yeah, definitely no Playmaker, sorry.
So there won't be an English pub, will there?
No English pub. And that's one thing I did notice. The English pub is actually a coffee shop called Leaf and Bean, which I spent a ton of time in. It's a Starbucks. It's not a Starbucks. It's brewed with Starbucks. It's included in your drinks package. But it's a big coffee shop that has both. And again, it's small things like this, but I really enjoyed it. It was, you can still get a latte, macchiato, all the things you can get in, Cafe Promenade and places like that. But you could also get bubble tea, and you can get Chinese tea drinks as well. So this is, I think, the example, and what I called it was like this. You get the warm Royal Caribbean hug that you know and love, the same familiar venues, the same things you know and expect from a kind of Royal Caribbean ship at the rest of the world, but with just subtle Chinese elements here and there. And I think you want that. You're sailing in China. You want to be immersed in Chinese culture. I think it would be really bland if you went on this ship and everything was American and it was the complete, American Royal Caribbean experience. I actually really enjoyed that. I found that exciting that I could go into Leaf and Bean and get a boba tea. I thought that was great.
Do you know, it's funny actually, because when we was in Lisbon this weekend, we were walking past an Irish bar and the boys were like, there's an Irish bar there. And I said, we are not going in an Irish bar in Lisbon. And here I am saying, why isn't there a Playmakers?
Yeah.
But then
No, but I get it. Like, that's the thing, innit? You still want those Royal Caribbean comforts, those things that you love Royal Caribbean for. And I think on the whole, they are still there. It's still the same incredible crew who are serving you. It's still the incredible main dining room. You're going to find the Royal Caribbean classics on the menu as well. So French onion soup is still on the menu. You're going to find all the staples that you love about Royal Caribbean, but they're also going to have Chinese options on the menu as well. So if you wanted to keep eating Chinese food in the main dining room, you can do that as well.
Joe would be in his element. He loves Chinese food.
Yeah.
What about gluten-free? Because obviously that's something I struggle with Chinese food.
I didn't ask because Phil wasn't with me. Normally I'd be like a masterclass in gluten-free, but because Phil wasn't with me, I didn't ask. I would say, because we had a lot of fussy eaters in our group who weren't as adventurous as maybe I am, and I didn't think I was adventurous with food until I met other people. And I say this with love, like they were really lovely type of thing, but they don't eat fish, they don't eat this, that and the other type of thing, and didn't faze the crew in the slightest. And obviously fish is quite popular in China, didn't faze them in the slightest. Even in Japan, when we went to Japan, they were like, I don't eat fish. Yeah, not a problem. Every allergy requirement that everyone had, and bear in mind we did 3 speciality, 1 main dining room, but nobody had an issue, nobody went without food, and everybody ate incredibly well type of thing. So I would imagine you wouldn't struggle, but obviously it's the same thing about you may have to order your meal the night before or give them a heads up you're going along. But I wouldn't have imagined it would be a massive problem.
So you did, and I was jealous because you kept messaging me, rubbing my face in it.
Guess what I'm dining tonight?
Yeah, guess where I am. So what was your favourite speciality dining?
Probably teppanyaki, actually. And I'm annoyed that I enjoyed it as much as I did because I was a bit hard on it. I was like, it's a gimmick. Thoroughly loved teppanyaki.
It's brilliant, isn't it? So, somebody said to me the other week, you only need to do it once. I was like, no, you don't do it every time because the food's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I realised as well, I was just really apprehensive that the food wasn't going to be good. I was a bit like, it's a gimmick food type of thing. But it just kept coming at us, the food, the more and more of it. And then because the other people weren't as adventurous, I was also eating everybody else's appetizers as well. So I ate so much food that meal. Did
you have the scallops? Did they? Because they were cooked, mate. Perfect.
I didn't. I think I made a rookie error because I ordered what did I have? The samurai, I think I had. So I had the king prawns and the other beef. Is it the beef? Didn't get the steak. I had the other beef cut, which was a bit chewier. But because they cook so much, I did also get to try the chicken and the steak. And oh my God, the steak was phenomenal. It was so good.
I know.
I was like, I think I made a mistake and ordered the wrong things. This steak is brilliant. Loved it.
It's pink as well, isn't it? They cook it medium, and it's just, it was amazing.
I had the takoyaki for my appetizer as well, and I thoroughly loved that. I ate half of somebody else's sushi, half of somebody else's sushi as well. I ate everything. If it came on my plate, I was eating it.
And do they still do all the cocktails in there?
Yes, I didn't have any though because we had sake. I drank a lot of sake that night. But they do have on drinks, just quickly then. So China isn't a very big drinking culture. They don't drink the way that maybe Brits and Americans do. So the reason why the drinks package is so cheap on the shorter sailings, at least anyway, is because there just isn't as big of a drinking culture. So you're not going to find kind of specialty cocktails in every single bar. The menu tends to be the same. That's advertised anyway. But if you ask them for a kind of a Royal Caribbean signature, if they can make it, they will make it. So what's the lavender daiquiri, isn't it? Which everyone bangs on about. It's meant to be amazing. That's my favourite.
Yeah,
I didn't ask for one, but I asked for a toasted marshmallow. Now, they couldn't do the toasted marshmallow old-fashioned, but they made me an old-fashioned similar to the toasted marshmallow old-fashioned type of thing. So they love to be kind of challenged because they don't get to make those cocktails very often. So, and we were told, like, yeah, anything you want, they'll make it for you. But because there's not a culture like there is in the West of drinking cocktails and poolside cocktails, the cocktail menu is quite bare compared to what you may find on the other ships. But the crew are fully stocked up to be able to make you pretty much any cocktail you do want.
And that's the thing with Royal Caribbean crew. They're very much, if it's not on the menu, we'll still have a go because they are so accommodating. And the waiters, the waitresses, the bar staff, everybody goes out of their way to make sure that your experience is good. I've never met anyone on a Royal Caribbean ship that's not made an effort and not tried to go above and beyond.
They love the fact as well that they got the chance to make things they don't often make. They got really excited. They were like, oh my God, we love having Brits on board. You guys love to drink type of thing. And like, what do you want next? Do you want me to try something else for you? They were trying all different things and everything. And I love that. I really love that kind of drinking culture. So that was great. And every night we went, they were like, oh, you're back again. What do you want to try tonight type of thing. So it's not that you can't, you just have to kind of be a bit more confident to, just ask for something off the beaten path. But it's just not part of the Chinese culture. They keep very much to like tea and simple drinks type of thing. They're not cocktail drinkers. So the menu has been changed because there's no point in having 50 pages of cocktails when the Chinese will drink maybe 5 of them. So but in speciality, they did have signature cocktails. So in speciality, you will find the main dining room. I can't remember. I think by that point I was so drunk that I was just drinking rum and coke by the end of the cruise because I was like, I need to calm down. I've got a long flight tomorrow. So I can't remember in main dining, if they have specialty cocktails. So
is the evening entertainment, is it got a Chinese feel to it or a Japanese feel to it? How does that work? And is it in, what language is it in? And
it is the entertainment on board. So what I was told as well is the shorter sailings that we had primarily attracted Chinese market. So I think we were told a figure of roughly about 90% of the people who book the shorter sailings tend to be Chinese, with 10% being international guests. On the longer sailings, the 8-night sailings, of which there will be more of them moving forwards, because they've just restarted their Chinese program, they didn't have the ability to kind of do longer sailings as often. They had to kind of take itineraries about what was available. But for 2027, there will be a longer 8-night voyage every single month, and that is the plan moving forward. There will be at least one 8-night voyage every month now for 2027. What was this? Oh, so entertainment, sorry. So obviously they knew the demographic was primarily Chinese on board. So all the headline shows are done kind of in English in the way that there's not a lot of talking in them. So we were meant to see Showgirls, but it got cancelled the day that we planned for it. And then the following day we couldn't do it because we were doing Chef's Table. So we didn't get to go see Showgirls, but we got to see the signature show in 270, which is called Silk Road. It's very much an instrumental performance piece. There's not a lot of talking in it, and the singing that is in there is limited. But they do sing some Western songs type of thing. So you get kind of like the Royal Caribbean spin on, I think it was Frozen by Madonna. They done like a really beautiful arrangement of that with the singer's performance. There is singing. It's very minimal, but it's a stunning. I loved Silk Road. It's an incredible show. And then we saw the Effectors one as well in the main theatre. So again, the singing in that is in English type of thing, but it's very kind of light touch.
Screens.
Yeah, all the screens, the girl, one of the 4 superheroes basically that kind of interact in different ways. So the one who's like the pixel one who can jump in and out of the screens, the one who flies, he doesn't fly in this one, does he? The one who like interacts with lasers, and then the villain comes out and flies all the drones in the auditorium over everyone's head.
what I'm looking forward to on our next cruise on Odyssey, because obviously I'm going with the anti-show, aren't I? So they won't see any shows. So of course we've got friends going next time. I thought I can just see them all because I was seeing bits of them and everyone was they're just not into it. But so I'm really looking forward to that.
Odyssey's got Effectors 2, which is the sequel to the show I saw, and I think Effectors 2 is a little bit better. I think there's a bit more of a storyline to it.
Right. Okay.
But again, I think that's the thing. The entertainment is obviously is a bit bilingual, so it's kind of like scaled back.
Yeah.
Just want to touch on like day-to-day activities. So when you go through the Cruise Compass, you're going to find activities in Chinese and English, basically. So they'll do a quiz and it will say next to it Chinese songs. So like name the tune, Chinese songs. Or there'll be like a magician, it'll say Chinese or bilingual type of thing. So it'll say what is. Obviously, it's a predominantly Chinese audience at the moment. So there's going to be a lot more Chinese activities. But all of the kind of like activities like crafting classes and all that type of stuff, they're all bilingual. So they will obviously speak English and Chinese in their type of thing. The party, so we had 2 themed night parties in 270 on our sailing. We had a 70s party and a Halloween party. Bonkers, because it's very Asian, very, very Asian, very much like follow along to the coordinated dance routines and this, that and the other. But a lot of fun. So you will find a mix of some Chinese songs, some Korean songs, but equally some Western songs as well. And I think my highlight was when the village people came from under the stage and raised on the and all of a sudden the village people are dancing on stage type of thing. I think that was like the campest but the most fun thing I've ever done. But I think it just puts you at ease because it's familiar, it's fun, even though there's like the entertainment cast are like doing shout outs in Chinese and English. It still feels very welcoming. And you get this gist of it's a 70s party. Just go with the flow, have a bit of fun with it.
It's just, it'll be, I'm just intrigued. I'm so intrigued. So you felt at ease. You felt like, did it feel like Royal Caribbean?
100%. I think I kept saying to everybody, and they were all kind of sick of me talking about it. I was like, it still feels like a Royal Caribbean cruise with a Chinese overlay. That's the only way I can explain it. At its heart, it is a Royal Caribbean ship sailing. Obviously, culturally, the Chinese are very different how they use a ship than kind of Americans and Brits are. So kind of like the crowding is in different places than it would be on a Western ship. The casino is always busy 24 hours a day type of thing. They do go around in gangs together. So kind of like families, because they travel in family units. So they come as a group automatically. There's a lot more bigger groups of people. So you'll find like they'll sit together in places type of thing. And elevators can be a fun game of kind of like who's going to get in first type of thing. And the Chinese are not as polite. And I don't say this in a negative way, but just in like when an elevator, you're waiting in a line, oh no, after you, or you were here first. There's none of that in China. There is like, that door is open and I'm getting in type of thing.
Right.
So you do have to develop a thick skin, and it's not a rudeness. It's not you're foreign, you don't belong here. It's not that. They're doing it to each other as well. It's not personal. It's just they have a different sense of personal space and politeness around kind of lining up and elevators, and you just have to change your framing on it because it can come across as rude, and it's not. It's culturally different, and that's the only way I can explain it. You just have to kind of go. By day 3, I was doing it as well because you're just like if you're not pushing in or like aggressively like nudging people, you ain't getting in that elevator. So you do have to be like very, very kind of like if you can't beat them, join them.
So what am I trying to ask? How am I trying to ask this? So, like with Odyssey, and I know that I've had a few comments in the past where people said it, like the spectrum is slightly different in terms of the skydiving, I think it's called.
Oh, the
skydiving and the North Star. Are they still free on sea days, or I think you have to pay for them, don't you, in China?
Yeah, so from my memory, I think definitely iFly and Flowrider, there are free sessions still. Dodgems is still free sessions as well. Obviously, suite guests get priority, and if you want to pay for a private or an enhanced version, they still exist. The only one that I'm aware of that is very different is North Star. So North Star is so incredibly popular in China that they have decided that is completely always the premium 25-minute long version, and it's always paid for. There are no free experiences for the North Star, at least anyway, on Spectrum.
And how much was that?
I wouldn't know. I was hosted, so I wouldn't know. I didn't even look at the price, but I don't think it's any more expensive than it would be if you're paying for one of the paid-for experiences on board the other ship. I think it's like par for par, but it's just there are no free opportunities, and it is just because it's the only way to manage demand.
they're not hugely expensive, are they?
No, I think it's like $20 per person, which is a lot, but it's not for like, that's the only place in the world you can do something like that.
Did you get bored after 25 minutes? Was it too long?
I've got a fear of heights, so I was definitely ready to get off. And we did it at night time. I wonder if you did it in port, maybe you'd feel a bit different. I don't know, but I'm glad I did it, put it that way, because it is incredible. Again, one of those, where else in the world can you say you've been on the highest, viewing observation platform at sea type of thing? And to get that view of the ship from afar is lovely. And I think it was just about the right length of time. Any longer, and I think you would start to get bored. So the way it works is, I think they take you up a little bit, out to the side of the ship, all the way up 90 degrees. So you go as high as you can. They then do a slight rotation of like almost, 160 degrees. So it's kind of like you turn to the other side of the ship. Then they then take you over the other side of the ship about, 45 degrees up maybe. And then they bring you back to the middle and back down to base type of thing. So you kind of go out over both sides of the ship ultimately, and then as high up as possible in the middle.
And did you feel scared? I'm just seeing if it must just be on the website, not on the app.
I was a little scared, but I felt safe type of thing. It's just, I have a paralyzing fear of heights, so I don't like things like that. But I was like, I want to try this. It's always been on my bucket list to get in North Star type of thing. And I think it's incredible. The photos and the videos I've got from up there were incredible. And as a bit of a ship nerd, it was so lovely to see the ship from an angle you don't normally get to see her at. So I think it's worth doing if you can do it. And obviously, if you're on one of the other Quantum class ships, you can go on the free version of it. But in the right settings, paying for it, like probably paying at sunset. We were a little bit late than sunset, but paying for it at sunset would be incredible.
Yeah, because we did it in the day, but we were really lucky because we got a free session, but we did it in Pompeii. So you don't go up and over the side, which I think I don't know if I'd like that, but I'd do it. But the fact that you could see Vesuvius and the ship, and I did it on stop motion, so it looked, everybody was like ants when I played it back. It is an amazing experience.
Yeah, I think it's so cool, and this is kind of like what makes Royal Caribbean stand out, is where they do these, like only Royal Caribbean would do something like that. Do you get me? Like put an observation platform on the top of a ship, and I think the fear of like, how is it floating and how does it not topple the ship over? But that's just the engineering and the ingenuity of what they do type of thing. And I think it's just so incredible to say, they did give me the figures, however many feet it is above sea level, viewing the ship at sea type of thing in the East China Sea. Where else in the world can you say you've done that other than on a Royal Caribbean ship?
No, and that is the problem, isn't it? And it's a risk factor, isn't it? And it goes back to that because obviously we were going to do a different cruise. And a ship that I love, but still all the things in my mind that I was thinking it won't have because it's not Royal Caribbean. Because because I just trust it. I know the brand and I trust it, and I know that I know what to expect, and I know that with the boys going on, they can access all these things to do, and I think it's so good for multi-generational trips. Well, it's good for any trip, but
that's the key thing that I loved. I loved going on something that I knew and loved. Obviously, you've sailed Royal a lot more than I have. I've done a very limited number of sailings, but it felt lovely to go on a ship and have that. I kept calling it the Royal Caribbean hug. So seeing familiar venues, seeing things that I know and love type of thing, and appreciating all the artwork and, having Voom internet, all that stuff that works on the rest of the fleet. But then seeing, like I say, being immersed in Chinese culture while I was there, I just loved it. And it's really nerdy, but there's a Star Moment is called, which I think replaces Boleros maybe. So on the Esplanade, there's like a lounge on the lower level. And it's like a sitting in lounge type of thing, but it's also services the karaoke lounge on board. And for me, it was one of those like cultural moments when you're walking past and all the Chinese men are in there singing all those really warbly Chinese songs you hear about like on TikTok and things like that. And they're all there belting them out type of thing. And they've got a massive audience. And it was one of those things of like, this is really cool. Like I'm on a ship in China. The Chinese are singing karaoke songs. You've got Wonderland Bionic Bar. I was like, this is what I want from a ship that is in. I think what I'm trying to get at is there's a benefit of being on a ship that has been tailored to the Chinese market rather than going on a ship that is for Americans in China. I think it gives you that extra layer of immersion where you're still getting a authentically Chinese experience. And Ben Bowden, the president, hates that expression, but you're getting like a Chinese experience on a American cruise line that's been kind of overlaid a little bit for China. And I appreciated it more because of that.
I know that Laura did it and she really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, it's just intriguing. And it was one of those things that it definitely fear stops you doing it. But you've really convinced me that I'd need to try it. So what would be, was your cruise cabin and everything else is the same, yeah?
Yeah, so I had a balcony cabin. I can't remember what grade I was in, but it was definitely a non-obstructed balcony cabin. So for myself, which was lovely. I don't think I remember sleeping in a Royal Caribbean, but I think my Wonder preview sailing, I was probably drunk the entire time. So I don't remember how lovely a Royal Caribbean bed is and how amazing their bedding is. Their linen is like silk. It's a lovely bedding. So again, I loved having a bit more time, I think, than my last time in a cabin, just to kind of get a better feel for storage space, getting dressed and things like that. I had a bit more time to kind of enjoy the cabin. I love Royal Caribbean's cabin. I was a bit kind of like, they're a bit plain and generic on my first experience, but having a bit more time, it's like, actually, no, it's really thoughtful of, there's no wasted space. Everything suits a purpose, and they feel quite spacious as well. They don't feel tight. Like, you feel like you've got a bit of space to kind of just relax in them if you wanted to.
Was Spectrum, was it a year before Odyssey or two?
I think she's after. I'm pretty sure she's the second.
Was she not before? Because did they not make Odyssey for the Chinese market and then they moved her over here in COVID? So she was launched in 2020. It was meant to be 2020, but it was 20. When did we go? 2022.
So Spectrum launched in 2019.
Yeah, and then Odyssey was the same time as Wonder.
Oh, no, you're correct. Yeah, sorry. So Spectrum was the first Quantum Ultra, and then Odyssey was the last of the Quantum Ultra class, and the last Quantum class launched in 2021.
Yeah, because I'm sure she was definitely for the Chinese market, and then they moved her over during COVID because she never launched. And then obviously they had to wait to launch her till 2022, and we went on the inaugural season. But I loved the cabins on that ship. I thought they could, because they're obviously more modern, newer. I thought they were great.
And I think that's what I appreciate as well, because I went on Anthem and I didn't realise how much of a difference there is between like Anthem going to Spectrum. Anthem to me felt a little bit more dated because she's more the old like nautical deep woods in the cabins and things like that, whereas Spectrum has the kind of slightly more modern, lighter colours, brighter colours type of thing. And even just the Esplanade just feels a lot more lighter, a lot more brighter type of thing. It could just be that I was on it in sunny, nice weather rather than the English Channel. That could play a big part in the situation as well.
And it's completely different, isn't it, the design? So I'm assuming it's very, very similar to Odyssey. It's just not more stylish, because I love Oasis class ships, but it's a more fluid design, and it's paler. Yeah. And I really liked that. And I'm really looking forward to taking my friend on who's only been on Mariner and fell in love with Royal Caribbean from Mariner. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to her seeing Odyssey, because it's just completely different.
Yeah, I was really hard on the Quantum class because I didn't like the flow of the ship when I went on Anthem. I was like a bit like, it's a bit higgledy-piggledy and there's not as much kind of like space to relax outside. But going on Spectrum changed my perspective entirely, I think, and having a bit more time to do an actual sailing and bed into her, I would happily sail her again and again and again type of thing. I think she's a lovely ship. I found where the bars are now, I think is the main priority. I now know where all the bars are, so I know where I'm going to be spending my time. But to kind of have that North Star bar and the pool bar, to have like the indoor solarium bar pool, that's still there. The covered pool is still on board this ship. To the solarium, there's a bar there as well type of thing. There is no solarium bistro, which I think is a shame. That is now dedicated for suite guests. So suites work a bit differently on this ship. But there's like no bistro in the solarium, which I think is a bit of a shame. But you've still got like Cafe 270 and all that type of stuff as well, if you wanted another place to sit in. And also as well, seeing 270 used fully, because obviously on a ship visit, they're not using it. So to see that space used in the evenings for entertainment, to see it used during the daytime as a bit of a chilled out, quiet lounge, I was like, oh, I found my spaces now. I found where I really love to relax on this ship.
That's what we loved about, obviously it's the same class, but I mean the boys don't get out of bed in the morning, so we had a connecting cabin, so we'd go to the 2070 cafe, get fruit for breakfast. I loved that there was lots of places to get snacks as well.
Yeah.
And fruit. And my Royal Caribbean thing that not many cruise lines do as well is the melon. There's melon everywhere. And silly things like that.
Apparently, according to Ben Bowden, they eat 40, I say Ben Bowden like as if that's his title. According to the president of Royal Caribbean China, 4,000 melons a day, apparently this ship goes through, which is insane. I was like, what? That's crazy. But yeah, the Chinese love a melon. But
it's good because you can eat healthy. So, and there's nothing better to me than walking along. No, I'm always grabbing a melon pot on, because I can't eat a cake and I want to eat healthy and it's refreshing. Yeah. So I loved it as a parent that the kids it was easy for them to eat healthy, because it's not always, when you travel, easy to eat healthy. And I think that St. Roll do amazingly.
I think it's the fact that sort of the food is in good places and it's accessible type of thing. It's not a case of like some ships where it's like you've got to go to the pool or the buffet. Like the fact that on the Esplanade, you've got obviously it's called the Patisserie, I think it is, La Patisserie, and also Leaf and Bean, which are the two coffee shops. They're literally spit in distance from each other. But they both serve snacks, sandwiches, like you say, the fruit cups, things like that as well. So they're really easily accessible. And then right at the very back of the ship, 270, you got Cafe 270 as well. There's tons of snacks there, and obviously then you've got Windjammer as well. So, weirdly, Sorrento's is in Windjammer on this ship, which was just an odd observation.
Oh, is it?
So I never went there because it was in the wrong place.
So it was on the Esplanade, next to the English pub.
Yep.
So what was there?
That's where Sichuan Red is. So where Sorrento's usually is, or is on that other classes, that's where the specialty Chinese restaurant is.
That's not something I miss because it's pizza. So they will make me a gluten-free one, but then I've got to eat a whole pizza, which I'm not doing. So
I didn't struggle for food, so I forgot to go there, to be honest. But it was just one of those observations of like, oh yeah, Sorrento's is by Windjammer.
And what was Windjammer like? Was it, just what was it like? Was it a different style of food? Or
no, it's the same as like every other quantum class. You've got kind of the pop-up tables, I guess, or the islands. That's the best way to know, the islands of food type of thing. My one fun observation was international flavors is where you're going to find English and American breakfast. So it tickled me every morning walking in there and just kind of like seeing international flavors and then finding like beans and hash browns and stuff type of thing. There's a lot more than just the international section. You can find Western food elsewhere. It's not as if you've got one island for international food, but it just every morning tickled me seeing it labeled that way. And there was one morning where I had like pork sue bao buns with hash browns, beans and bacon. I was like, this sums up my this experience type of thing. It's kind of like home comforts, a little bit of Chinese on the side.
I do love Chinese food, so and you can eat gluten-free Chinese food, can't you? You got your your rice noodles and stuff. So, but I'd be more than happy with that.
All the stuff you're used to having on a royal ship as well. So you've obviously got your Indian food, you've got your cuts of meat, you've got your salad bars. All that stuff is still there. All the desserts you're going to know are there as well. There's just extra stations that have obviously like Chinese food. So you're going to find like Chinese porridge and things like that, which you can try them if you want, or you can just walk past and go to a different station and get something else. But I didn't worry about food from the second I got on board to the second I got off. I ate very comfortably both kind of international flavors. I had spaghetti bolognese in the main dining room on the last night because I just love a good spaghetti bolognese. I ordered Indian. I think I had Indian in the buffet the one time. And obviously I had my mishmash American/Chinese breakfast the one morning I did go to the buffet. It is, and I think this is your influence on me. I am enjoying buffets less and less the more I sail. It is still like the buffet Hunger Games is becoming harder on me as I'm getting older and I can't be bothered with it anymore. So you definitely do have to kind of like have a bit of a plan in place, I think, to know where things are, rather than otherwise you're going to be stood around aimlessly. And again, the aforementioned Chinese personal space, you're not going to have that, oh no, you go next. You literally have to get in there and get your food type of thing. So I did the one morning and was like, no, but I ordered room service, breakfast for the first time ever on a cruise. I know.
See, it's amazing. That is my biggest tip, especially on the first day of your cruise, get room service. Do not go to the buffet. And how relaxing is that?
I forgot about it every time, and then somebody else in the group WhatsApp said I've just put my breakfast order, and I was like, literally, I was in bed, and I was like, oh wow, it's got out of bed, lights all on, I'm doing this order type of thing, and I was novelty ordering, but I had like a ham and cheese omelette, I had coffee, fruit. When it came, I was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. I don't have to do the Hunger Games in the buffet anymore.
I know. I think it's a game changer. I mean, Royal Caribbean probably don't thank me for it because I'm like the single driver of people to go to have room service. But we always tip. But I just think it's brilliant. And I think that's an amazing option for travelling. I mean, obviously on a sea day, you go to the restaurant, you have a mimosa, you have Eggs Benedict. But on a port day, no. So what was your highlight of the ship?
The food, definitely. I think obviously we got to do Chef's Table, which was incredible as well. That was a really wonderful experience to have. And I didn't know what to expect because I've not really... I think it may have been a month before I went on this ship did I even hear about Chef's Table. I think it came up in passing on one of our episodes and I was like, oh, I didn't even know they did that. So to get to try and experience that was incredible. Wonderland has been a bit of a bucket list for me as well for a while because ever since I heard about it, I was like, that's my cup of tea. it is confirmed that Wonderland is getting slowly phased out of the fleet. I think this will be the last Wonderland in the fleet, so I was told. So if you do like Wonderland, get your fix now, because it may not be around by 2030. But I thoroughly loved it. But Wonderland on this ship has been tweaked ever so slightly, because it has to obviously cater to kind of international flavors. So it's not as adventurous, maybe. You're not going to get the test tube of tomato soup type of thing. It's very... To be honest, it didn't seem as adventurous as I thought it would be, but it was a wonderful meal. I thoroughly loved my meal in Wonderland. Chef's table, I think 5-6 courses, wine pairing, intimate dining experience. I think to share that as a group, and kind of obviously with the president of Royal Caribbean China as well, to have that kind of
Are you going to name drop anymore?
I am. I know.
Oh, me and Ben.
I think it was just to have that opportunity, though, to have that conversation and that level of access type of thing. It really did. It meant a lot as a travel agent to kind of have that and to get the candid response to it. But it was also his birthday as well. It was fun. We had a laugh. There was jokes flying around. It was just a really lovely atmosphere. And I think Chef's Table, if you have that atmosphere, you're with a group of people, you're celebrating a special occasion, you've got friends and family together, 100%. Now I can see why Chef's Table is so incredible, to kind of have the chef come out, explain every course, how they've made the meal, but then to share it in an intimate environment as well. It just felt lovely. I thoroughly loved that night, and I think it'll be one of those nights that stays with me forever. The food isn't avant-garde. I thought it would be a lot more kind of like deconstructed potatoes served in a glass, dome suspended from a lily leaf. It's none of that stuff. It's just very well made, very thoughtful ingredients. Just a lovely, lovely meal. I really enjoyed that.
No, I'm only jealous. I want to go on holiday with Ben. But no, obviously we're having a pug as well. To go to the motherland, it will be brilliant.
Definitely. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. And I really appreciated, I think the one thing that I loved the most was the fact that it was a Chinese ship, that, it felt Chinese. It didn't feel like I was on any generic ship that could be anywhere in the world. I think I appreciated it more because I was surrounded by a lot of Chinese culture. Like I say, Star Moments and the Chinese karaoke. Bonnie, the cruise director, was phenomenal. She was incredible. And, she was described as kind of like the cruise director who comes out with a new kind of like, she had a Halloween costume on the one time where she had this really cheap, online ordered witch's hat and cape, but she was wearing this glamorous, elegant dress with it all as well. And it just went together really well in this kind of like, this is exactly what you expect. She was phenomenal. She got the energy going in every room that she came into, and it's what you want from a cruise director. Somebody who you feel like can control a room, set the tone for it, give you the information you need to do in such a warm way. And again, we had a bit of a meet the senior team type of thing. And again, she's so passionate about that product, the whole Chinese international fusion and showcasing China to international guests on board. And I think you want that when you go on board a cruise, especially in a different region. Yeah,
definitely. And that's because obviously the one that we're looking at going on, it's got quite a few ports, so it's just navigating all of that, isn't it? But then again, Royal are very good at that, aren't they? And I feel reassured that you could get taxis as well. That's quite an easy thing to get.
Yeah.
What are they called? Not Uber.
DD is the name of the episode. DIDI.
Yeah, so to get, and then you've obviously got your excursions.
Yeah, the one thing to do basically to buy anything in China, you just download an app called Alipay, so ALIPAY, Alipay. And then within that app, there are basically all the key apps you would need, basically. So we'll go into this in the Shanghai episode a bit more, but that app makes China so much easier to navigate type of thing. That's how you pay for everything. You just link your Western card to the app, and then everyone, even small street vendors, even people who are selling on the streets, have Alipay, basically. That's how advanced China is type of thing. Everyone has Alipay, and you just scan the barcode and it sets up the transaction. You just approve it in your app then, and it takes the money over that way type of thing. So it's all digital. Once you do that, everything's really easy. Everyone is guaranteed to take Alipay. And then the DD app, the Uber app, is in that as well. And again, there's a translate button. So you just push the translate button and it translates the whole app then into English for you.
And this is like nothing to do with the ship really, but did the ship have all the cool artwork like Odyssey's got, like all the moving and like the pictures that you can play football with the picture, and has it got all that?
Yeah, I didn't spot any interactive video artwork, but definitely like there was one chandelier in the top level of the Esplanade that I was mesmerized by, and I think I stopped every time. There's like kinetic art piece chandelier that was moving and changing colors. That was really cool. There's artwork everywhere, as you know, type of thing. There's all video walls, I think, in the main dining room on the one floor as you go into it, and at the back of it that change graphics all the time. There's like a man stuck in the wall, like a bronze statue almost in outside music hall. Like everywhere you look, there's artwork everywhere. There's a really cool skydiving fat person, and that's the only way you can explain it. He looks like a cherub, but he's like this really fat, like somebody said he was a pig, but he just looks like this really big guy with tiny, tiny wings on his back, and it's a sculpture by a famous artist. That's outside 270. Like everywhere you look, like every royal ship, there's artwork everywhere.
Yeah, and I think I do love that about Royal and the interactive walls, and I love it all. I just think and I think those ships demonstrate that really well. So when you were, just really quickly, when you was in China, did you see any of the things that come out of the billboards?
Oh, no, not where we went to. No. So there's so much I want to talk about what we did in China. We saw some incredible things, but no, we didn't do much of like the downtown hardcore shopping areas. We went to Yew Gardens, which is a 17th century Chinese mansion, I want to say, and got to see kind of old style Shanghai. Then we got to do Yuyang Gardens, which is next door basically, but that's like a more modern shopping complex, but with a kind of retro look to it. We got to go up the top of a tower. I forgot the name of the actual tower, but the name of the place we went to was called the Stage. The best experience ever. I think to do that at the end of day one just summed up like how incredible China is. So that was the tallest outdoor viewing platform in China. Worth it for that alone. We got to do the Bund, which is the historic district type of thing, which you can see kind of the Western influence and then look across and see the Oriental Pearl and kind of the modern downtown kind of business side of Shanghai on the opposite sides of the river. So that was really lovely to see kind of the history of kind of colonized or occupied China, Shanghai, versus kind of the modern future with the direction Shanghai's going. Apparently at nighttime that looks stunning, but we didn't go back there at nighttime. And then we did the Tennis Masters, which is a whole other conversation. Then we were hospitality VIP then for the Shanghai Tennis Masters final.
Amazing. It sounds like
it was awful ship. It was an awful trip even. Sorry, I don't even know why I went.
You might need therapy after it.
Literally, I'll be ruined now. It's ruined me every time I go. I'm like, wow, I'm not hosted VIP this trip.
Yeah. Where's Ben? Where's Ben?
Do you know who I'm with?
No, I met him once at a Clear event, and he's a lovely guy. So
yeah,
it sounds like it was an amazing trip. So I suppose we've got to close it. So what do you want to add? Is there anything that we've missed?
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is it's totally changed my perspective on sailing China, visiting China. I was very kind of apprehensive and anxious about going. And obviously I had the great opportunity to have my hand held this time round type of thing, but it demystified every concern or fear I had about China. I've become such an advocate of Shanghai. I think Shanghai is an incredible city, and I'm already making lists of things I want to see next time I go. We are 100% going back. We've talked about going back in 2027. Hopefully, if I pull my finger out and I can navigate it all, we're hopefully going to host a trip maybe and see if people want to come along with us and benefit from kind of what I've learned on this trip and come along and do a very similar trip that we've done, but equally as when I now have access to a whole new region that I can sell because I've got first-hand experience of doing it. So I think don't be afraid by China and don't feel like you can only do it via hosted tour groups. It is a lot more accessible than you think. You just have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit of the apps that we've become so dependent on in the Western world.
I'm quite excited now. You've made me excited about
the ship isn't as Chinese as you think. I know I've talked about why I love the fact that it has Chinese elements, but it's not a Chinese ship. If you get me, it's still a Royal Caribbean ship, just has Chinese elements to it as well.
And I think that you want that comfort when you're pushing yourself out of your zone as well. That you've got that comfort that you are getting back on the ship and it feels like a royal.
Yeah, 100%. It felt like a Royal Caribbean ship at its heart. It felt like a Royal Caribbean ship, and I want to stress that because so many people were saying to me, like, not just you, there were other people as well who were saying to me, like, is it too Chinese? Is it too Chinese? Am I going to struggle? Is it, no, it's a Royal Caribbean ship first and foremost. The Chinese elements are kind of soft on top of it. That signage, entertainment, shows, That's where the Chinese element comes into it. Obviously, some retail's different, some venues are different, but at its core, it is still very much a Royal Caribbean ship. So if you love Royal Caribbean, you will love sailing Spectrum of the Seas. And I think it's a fantastic way to see Shanghai. To get around the whole visa system, I think is a great way to add on a 4-night sailing to maybe do a bit of a pre-land stay, do the cruise to get around the transfer visa-free system, but equally the longer sailings as well. So for those that don't know, the ship tends to do kind of a lot more at the moment 4-night sailings or 5-night sailings that will go to 1 or 2 ports. Usually they're going to be South Korea or Japan. So again, if you want to see Japan and China, great way to do that without stressing about kind of flying and multi-centers. And then there are longer 8-night sailings, which are different, but they tend to go to different ports in Japan. The key one that I've got my eye on for 2027 is there's an 8-night sailing that includes an overnight in Osaka and an overnight in Tokyo as well. And the price is really reasonable. We're talking around about £2,000 for their 8-night sailing in a balcony cabin, that is as well.
And that's for 2?
For 2, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. You know what I'm going to be doing tonight, don't you?
I'm going to be talking about this trip for years. This has been one of those most incredible trips I'll be talking about it for years. And I'm definitely going to be going back. And I don't think I'll be going back once. I'll be going back multiple times because I thoroughly love my time in China.
And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, right, well, I can definitely do Disney as well before I get on. So it just ticks all the boxes, doesn't it, if you're a Disney fan?
There's also a Legoland. I didn't know this, but there is a Legoland as well somewhere in Shanghai that's just opened.
And is it like a kids' Legoland or...?
Yeah. It's like a Legoland park, like all the other ones around the world. So it's very much aimed at families, younger kids. But again, you've got 2 theme parks if you want to have a bit of it. And you've got like Beijing. There's a Universal Studios near Beijing as well. So you could do a theme park trip. Obviously, if you want to get around the multi-center thing and you want to do the transfer visa, Hong Kong is a great place to start as well because you could fly into Hong Kong, do Hong Kong Disneyland, do Hong Kong for a couple of nights, then fly on to China, which again gets you through the transfer visa because you've come from Hong Kong to China back to the UK. So there's ways around the transfer visas in other ways as well. It's actually a lot more versatile than you would think to do the transfer visa-free system.
I'm going to do it on a ship. It's easier.
Well, the ship do all the paperwork for you as well. So that's the best.
Yeah. That appeals to me.
That's the biggest perk for it. But it's not as scary as it seems. You just have to watch a few things. More how long you're doing it for and where you're coming to and from. They're the key things. But it's not as scary as it sounds. So guys, I'm sure we're going to talk about this quite a lot because there's so much to talk about this trip type of thing, but I hope that's given you a good idea about what it's like to sail on Spectrum of the Seas, at least anyway. I'm definitely working on a lot of content. I've already started putting up my trip reports of what I did day to day, so if you want to see a little bit more of that, but that's going to give you a few spoilers about the episodes coming up as well, so maybe don't read them. Maybe wait until the podcast episode comes out and then maybe read them. I don't know, it's up to you. But if you are interested in doing this experience, or you do kind of want to sail with Royal Caribbean on Spectrum and, sail to China, I would definitely love to help you. You can find me online everywhere under Magical TRVLR, and my website is magical-traveller.com. And then yourself, Sarah, if the guys want to hunt down any of your travel guides or information, where's the best place for them to find that?
Yep, I mean, we've none on China, but we have got lots of Royal Caribbean ship reviews, so I will link to Odyssey of the Seas below, and they're all over on Mini Travellers. So yeah, I'll share that link.
And with that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.
Bye.